My relationship with my dad is better. Hello, I'm Adrienne. I'm 21 years old. I'm from Maryland. I attend Oakwood University, majoring in biochemistry. I plan to pursue medicine as I matriculate through school. I want to become a doctor because I love to help people, and I'm also really good with my hands. So, yeah. My dad was born and raised in Central African Republic. His dad actually died when he was like 12 or 13. So for most of his life, he didn't have his father. After finishing high school, he went to Russia to pursue an education. Came back to Central African Republic, met my mom there. They got married, had a couple kids, came to America, had my brother, and then a few years later, I was born. Um, After that, he worked a lot. My dad, I would say he's a really hard worker. Like if there's one thing he's a hard worker. He enjoys, being a provider, putting food on the table, and doing anything he can for his kids. Yeah. Earlier, I mentioned my relationship with my father was better because the last few years, we've been getting closer. He was always around, like, my mom and dad are still married, live in the same house, but like because he worked so much and because he had so much on his mind, I don't think we ever really had like a good relationship. It was just like that's my dad. But now, as I'm older, I'm doing things for myself. I think we can basically understand the world better. For as we're forming a relationship. Growing up, he was he was really lenient, but at the same time, like he, I feel like he didn't really care. Like he just did the things he thought he should do because, put food on the table, provide, that's pretty much it. Anything else was just like, okay, that's fluff. That's what I feel like. I don't think he did that on purpose necessarily or, you know, was doing it out of spite. I just think because he didn't really have his father in his life, he didn't really know how to do it the way I would have wanted him to do it or the way that I expected a father to be like. Life is short and, since we're miles away, anything could happen at any moment. So we talk on the phone more often whenever I need help with issues or whatnot. He's there for advice or, financial help from time to time if he can. But yeah, he's much more easygoing on like certain things that we can talk about that was not necessarily like okay for kids to talk about with their parents when they were younger. Because my parents are African, they believe that certain conversations shouldn't be had. But now that I'm older, I think there aren't any barriers between my dad and I. I guess my most impactful memory with my dad was when I was in high school and he was like in the hospital for months because he had like some issues with his blood and we didn't know if he was ever going to get out of the hospital. And I think at that point I was just like, wow, I really want my dad in my life. I don't want him to ever die. I mean, not that I was expecting him to earlier than that, but it was just like, wow. Like it hit close to home. My relationship with my dad shaped who I am now because I know what I would want or would not want in a partner or the father of my children. when that time in my life comes. Um, Also, like, I realized that I'm a lot like my dad in more ways than I can think of. Like, I'm a lot like him. But, you know, of course, every kid, knows what personality traits they want to take from their parents, and which personality traits they want to, like, dead away with at some point in their life. Because of my relationship with my dad, or what it was before, because it was for so long. Because of my relationship with my dad before, I guess I take more heed when getting into relationships, you know, um, and I just make sure of all the red flags before anything. Um, what I look for in a partner in the future is someone, of course, who's a hard worker and someone who's willing to be present, and not just like the surface level things like putting food on the table and paying bills, but being there emotionally, mentally, knowing that they're gonna be needed 100% of the time. It's hard for me to like depend on people, because even though my dad is a hard worker, like, a lot of times he wasn't really dependable. So it's really hard for me to depend on people or trust people as a result of that. That's a challenge. And, just a lot of the struggles that he had internally and with himself, even while being a father, he went through a lot of things alone. So that impacted me, and I I want to like change the trajectory of my life based on the things that he went through. Other than him being African and a hard worker, I would say he's funny. Um, yeah, he's really really funny. I get my sense of humor from my dad. He's super funny. Whenever like I'm down, I can count on him to like give me words of wisdom and make me feel better, or help me feel better, I should say. Um, a few times, well, more often than not, my dad did choose like other things above family. Like, like sometimes he like, not anymore, but like in the past he would choose like friends over like doing fatherly duties, or like choosing alcohol over being a father. I mean, he doesn't drink anymore, but he used to be like a really heavy drinker, and that also like was the main reason actually why our relationship wasn't good. But now that he's not like a drinker, I think I can tell that he's trying to like make up for lost time as a result of the drinking. So yeah, I think that's why our relationship is getting better, because he's actually making an effort now, and I respect that and I appreciate that. I know all the things that I want to do, like all the things that he wasn't for me growing up. I know that I'd want my kids to have that. Um, I know all the things that he was, of course, I'd like to take that on. Um, I know to stay away from certain things because, you know, um, he's my blood father, so if he has an addictive personality, then I most likely do. And, I wouldn't want to do anything to jeopardize, my kid's life or my family's life because of those things. I think the role that fathers play in their kids' life is monumental if done right. I think fathers are awesome. I think they're amazing. And I think that, especially in the black community, it seems like, well, okay, so statistics show that black fathers are there for their kids more than any other race in America, but still in our community, there are a lot of kids, there are a lot of children without fathers. So I think that plays a toll, because it's just like, how do you father? How do you be a father if you haven't had one? You know, having a family is basically the point of having a family is to help the next generation and guide the next generation into a better future. But like, how do you be a better father if you don't know how to be a father to begin with? So I think in the Black community, there's still a lot of help that we need, a lot of counseling, and a lot of navigating that we have to do to get to the bottom of this problem. Um, Because, at the end of the day, for the people that do watch this, I don't know when you're posting this or if you're posting this at all, but I just want people to know that there are people out there like them, because I'm pretty sure I'm not the only person who's had a father like I had, you know. It's good to know that there are people like you. I think it helps with the healing processes. I guess one of the things I've had to heal from is that even though like my father was present, like I said before, it like he was present, but like it was kind of like he wasn't there at the same time due to like, his own life choices that, reflected on his kids. So like because of alcoholism, I just felt like he wasn't there even though his body was physically there. So I feel like in a way I'm still healing from like an absent father, even though he wasn't absent, you know. But I think what's helping is the fact that he wants to do better and be around and, be a good father now.
What do you remember about like the time when he was drinking and like how that affected you then?
You going too deep, man. Okay. I'm sorry. I'm gonna tell you to repeat yourself a lot, because like the first time you ask, like my brain is shocked, and then the second time, like I can process it.
What do you remember about like the time he was drinking and like how that may affected you then?
Okay. I mean, how do you imagine anyone that drinks uncontrollably? Like, I don't mean to be asking you. I'm just thinking out loud because I'm painting a picture, right? Okay. Okay. I guess like he just didn't care a whole bunch. It seemed like, or like he just like wouldn't do the right thing. He was just focused on doing him and living his life, even though like he had kids. I mean, I could see that even then he did try to be a father, but it just wasn't the best at all because he was so caught up in the alcohol and, drinking and stuff like that. He was just reckless, I would say. Yeah, I just remember it being reckless, not any like specific memories or anything like that. Because, like I said, he stopped. Like it's been a good 3 or 4 years now, maybe 2 or 3. I'm not sure, but he basically had a health scare, and the doctor told him, "Yo, if you don't stop drinking immediately, like you're gonna die, and there's nothing that we can do about it." Like the doctor told him straight like that, and that scared him straight. Like I guess after hearing a doctor telling him that there's nothing we can do to fix you, and then he just decided. But I also do believe that God played a big role because I prayed all the time. My siblings prayed all the time for it to stop, and I think God used his health as a catapult, as a catalyst, I should say, to like just end it completely.
Have you ever talked to him about his drinking or how his drinking affected you and made you feel about that stuff?
Oh yeah, oh yeah. I used to be very, very vocal about it. I wasn't quiet about it at all because, of course, I wanted him to stop doing it. Yeah, so I was very vocal about it. Now, we don't talk about it much. Like even though it was recent that he stopped, it still feels like a distant memory.
Are you ever concerned that he might start drinking again at some point? Or that, you know what I mean? You may have addictive tendencies, or like,
Um,
you may be attracted to someone who does, or something like that.
I used to be concerned. Like, I used to think, like, oh, what if he started again? But, like, I just gave my worries to God. And if it happened again, then we'll cross that bridge if we ever had to get there. But, no, I'm not concerned or worried about that anymore. I'm sorry, it's getting really hot now. Let me get my thoughts together. All right. Dear Dad, I love you. I think you're awesome. Thank you for always being there for me when you can. Thank you for choosing a better life. I want to see you live to be 115 years old. I want you to live a long and healthy life. I want my kids to know you, my kids' kids to know you. Well, probably not that long, but at least my kids to know you. I am happy about where we are today, and I hope our relationship can continue to grow. Thank you. Why did I say thank you at the end? I'm sorry, you can leave all of that. I'm just, oh God. That's a lot of pressure, man.